Could there possibly be a more important and influential video game than Super Mario Bros.? No, there isn't. Try as you might, you'll only be wrong. Super Mario Bros. Changed gaming in ways that you may not even realize, but the most important was setting a new standard for graphics, gameplay, and presentation. No longer were single-screen games with black backgrounds and the same levels looping over and over forever going to cut it. No longer were we playing merely to waste time or to get a high score that would be erased anyway when we turned the game off. Games had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Super Mario Bros. Wasn't the first game to do a lot of the things that it did, but it did them bigger and better and all at once, and was therefore more influential. So let's look at 10 facts about Super Mario Bros. Here we go. The instruction manual for Super Mario Bros. Purposefully left out some information for the purpose of keeping an air of mystery around certain features in the game. And I'm not just talking about secrets like warp zones, but now common features that we take for granted. The biggest mystery was how to trigger the fireworks at the end of a flagpole level. This was even stated in the manual to be a mystery, though now just about anyone knows that it's triggered by the final digit of the timer when you end the level. Unbelievably, climbing vines was also treated as a mystery. Under the schematics for controls, the up button on the D-pad's function was given as a question mark. It's just a little thing we take for granted, but these types of things were common in the NES era to foster an air of mystery around games. Early in development, the A and B buttons were both used for attacks. One would have Mario punch enemies, and the other would fire a gun, while Mario would jump using the up button. While it's common for games to change drastically during development, the idea of Super Mario Bros. As a shooter-platformer hybrid is just bizarre by today's standards. Another feature cut out of early development was the idea that Mario would ride a dinosaur. Sound familiar? Yes, the concept of Yoshi was originally planned for the first Super Mario Bros. While the previous features I mentioned were either changed or dropped for conceptual reasons, Yoshi was dropped due to technical limitations of the time and would later make his official debut on more powerful hardware, Super Mario World for the Super NES. One of the biggest mysteries regarding Super Mario Bros. Is the infamous Minus World, a secret level only accessible via a glitch. Mario uses a flaw in the way the game creates walls to glitch through solid bricks to access the warp zone in level 1-3 without walking across the ceiling. If Mario enters the first pipe right away, you'll go to the Minus World. Why is it called the Minus World? Well, it displays each level as the world number, a dash, and then the level number. Here, it does not display a world number, leaving just a dash and a 1, which looks like -1. So, what's the whole deal with the Minus World? There are 8 worlds in the game, but loading information for unused, unfinished, or non-existent worlds will load a layout for another level, but with errors. -1 is identical in its layout to level 7-2, but unbeatable due to the pipe at the end of the level glitching you back to the beginning of the level, meaning the only way for the level to end is either you die or you run out of time. How does all this happen? If you enter the warp pipe leading to level 4-1 without the warp zone officially loading, the game is unsure where to send Mario, and tries to send him to level 36-1, which does not exist. As the number 36 cannot be written as a single digit, the game displays a blank graphic instead. Speaking of the Minus World, ever wonder what happens in other versions of the game? Well, in straight ports like the Virtual Console versions, they are identical to the original game, and as such the same thing happens. However, remakes such as Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Game Boy Color or Super Mario All-Stars for the Super NES either fix the glitch by having the pipe go to the correct level or making the wall impassable. But here's an interesting one. In the Famicom Disk System version of the game, it will send Mario to a very different -1 that is a glitchy version of level 1-3 that is underwater and has loads of graphical glitches. But it can be beaten, leading to a level -2 and -3, which resemble levels 7-3 and 4-4 respectively, though heavily glitched. Beating -3 ends the game, dumping you back to the title screen, and does actually count as finishing the game, as restarting the game from there will load hard mode. Other minus worlds exist, which can be accessed with cheat devices such as a Game Genie. Back in the NES heyday, one question plagued many a Nintendo kid. Is it possible to jump clear over the flagpole at the end of most levels? The answer is yes, absolutely, though it is not easy. It's possible to do this in every level that has a flagpole by exploiting a simple glitch, though it can be done legitimately in certain levels with good timing. However, this does screw you over, at least in the original version, as the level cannot be beaten. The level ends by touching the flagpole, which triggers Mario to pass to the other side and then walk forward, the level ending when he is stopped. There's a block placed next to the castle door to stop Mario, which blends in with the passable background blocks. If the game is hacked to remove this block, or to make it a passable block, Mario will walk forever, essentially freezing the game in an unending loop. A lot of the things that we take for granted in platformers today was actually revolutionary in Super Mario Bros. Shigeru Miyamoto, the game's director, often had to explain to programmers his ideas, and they thought he was nuts. This had previously happened with Donkey Kong, when Miyamoto's insistence that the game have 4 different levels made the programmers feel that they were being ripped off by having to make 4 games for the price of 1, with Miyamoto insisting that different levels were the future of gaming. In Super Mario Bros., Miyamoto wanted each level to take about a minute to complete, and since it took Mario about a second to run the length of a screen, the developers were dismayed with the idea of coding 32 levels that were 60 screens long, until Miyamoto had to patiently explain that enemies and obstacles would slow players down. Seems like the developers were mind-bendingly stupid, but remember, most of the games at the time had the entirety of the gameplay take place on a single screen. Super Mario Bros. Was originally not a Mario game at all, and before a character was developed, they used a block as a placeholder. Mario was added when one of the designers noticed what a success Mario Bros. Was, and asked Miyamoto about using the characters, which is how Mario and Luigi became the stars, and the game got its name. The fire bars that appeared in the castle levels of Super Mario Bros. Were a late addition to the game. They were being used in early development for The Legend of Zelda, and were imported over to Super Mario Bros. Fire bars would wind up being in later Zelda games, such as A Link to the Past, but the original was leased out to Mario. One of Super Mario Bros.' memorable features, blocks that would spit out multiple coins by hitting them, was actually a glitch. All coin blocks were supposed to dispense a single coin, but a programming error made some of them dispense multiple coins. The designers liked the glitch, so they left it in.